Welcome to this week's Down Home with Tina show. I have got some wonderful guests coming up here in the next half hour. I have a couple of folks who are with Operation Christmas Child and going to share a really cool story about one of the kids that had received one of the Christmas shoe boxes. Going to go into detail on all about that. And then also I have my Teacher of the Month from Lancaster High School. He is a band director, benefactor, so some of you may know him, and it's always great to be able to highlight those amazing leaders and teachers that we have in our community. So don't go anywhere, folks. Lots to come. It's Down Home with Tina.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
You walked down the aisle and promised happily ever after. Sometimes happily ever after means ending a relationship. We know the conversations are not easy. Deciding what's best for you, your children, and your next steps takes work and communication. At Dagger Law, we know there are no monsters in a divorce, only people trying to find their way. Local, trusted, experienced. Dagger Law.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. As some of you know, I took a mission trip. It's been a few weeks ago now, and boy, it was just something that was so good. I know years ago I had a conversation with a gal who is part of a nonprofit here in the community, and we were just talking about how it feels so good to give back. And then it's almost kind of like you do and it feels good, and then you see, and then it always, I think it always comes back to you anyway. So when I was there, I had remembered something that the church that I used to attend had done, and it was Operation Christmas Child, and it was through Samaritan's Purse and the ministry. So with me today, I have Jenny Hecklbeck. She is the area coordinator for this big, huge part of the ministry, and I'm so excited because you said it is a huge year for a certain number of how many shoe boxes that they're hoping to, and they're going to reach, I have no doubt. And Todd Lotz, who is the media support fella, who is also going to share so much about what Operation Christmas Child is. So some folks may know exactly what I'm talking about because you have boxes, and we'll just kind of show, because maybe it'll trigger their memory or their think, exactly. Oh yeah, we've seen those boxes before. Oh, yeah. Or because I know it was the church / school, and the school is who had collected items, and we went in one day and we packed a whole bunch of boxes. We're going to find out what these are and what they're all about. Jenny, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So glad to have you.
Yes, we just appreciate the chance to get to share. And
this is a huge ministry of what they do through Samaritan's Purse. And about how many years have they been doing this?
Since 1993.
Wow.
So this is 29th season.
29th season. And is there a certain time of the year that you start getting organized for this? Is this something that you are coordinating throughout the year?
This is something that happens year round. We have we're part year-round volunteer team that start pretty much right after the end of National Collection Week, which is always the third week in November.
Okay.
And then we start planning, praying over, see what God has in store, and then
But this is really our push season. We're really wanting people now to hear about it, to pack boxes, and then as Todd said, the third week in November, we collect boxes nationwide. Last year, in just our area only, Columbus East, which is Columbus and then the counties on the east side, we collected over 30,000 boxes. So we were just really excited about doing that.
How many people typically participate in this? I shouldn't say people, maybe groups, organizations, as well as individuals.
Wow. A lot. I have no idea. I mean, we get hundreds of boxes from individuals. We have about, in our area alone, 210 churches. I don't know how about across the nation. And then on top of that, we have school groups and preschools and community groups and Girl Scout troops, and so.
Do you know of some of those in the area that are actually doing some of the collecting, or how can they find out about that, Jenny?
Oh, you can go to SamaritansPurse.org/OCC. That gets you the link. All you need to know what to pack. There's a zip code locator, so you can find out where your nearest drop-off location is. Everything that you need and want to know about.
And we're going to find out about some of the who gets these boxes. Let's just start with that, the history of it, and who gets these boxes, Jenny.
Well, the desire is that these go to children around the world who have never heard the name of Jesus Christ. And whether most of them are third world countries, but not necessarily has to be. And it's just a way to share the good news with children. And the boxes open the door. There's places where we've been where you could never get in the door. But through the box, they have a chance to know that they're loved, that somebody in the world loves them, and that Jesus loves them.
And it's one box per child.
Per lifetime.
Per lifetime.
So the child who gets the box, they'll never have an opportunity, or at least they try to make sure that there's never another opportunity for them to get a box. So it's a one-time thing. So far, we've distributed over, 193 million boxes around the world. So,
and we do this nationwide as a ministry.
Yeah.
Yes, and there's like 7 or 8 other countries that do it also.
Largest Christmas project in the entire world.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Reaching
South Korea, England, Australia are some of the ones I can think of right off the top of my head that do it with us.
Okay, and where do they go? All over the world as well,
over
or certain countries?
Children over 170 countries.
Over 170 countries of those who may not get to. What is that process? I mean, how in the world is that? I mean, because to even know where to go and how it gets there.
Yeah. What happens is we're the first step in that journey of the shoebox. So we're packing the shoeboxes, whether individual, families, groups like Jenny mentioned, and then National Collection Week, the third week in November. It's when drop-off locations, and we have over dozens in this area, and that's where the zip code locator can tell you the nearest one to your area. They drop the shoebox off, and then after National Collection Week, they'll go to one of 8 different processing centers on the next step of the journey.
Okay.
Around the country, and there'll be volunteer groups that will go down there. There'll be groups from here that will go down to volunteer their time, sometimes for a day, sometimes for a week, and then just kind of inspect. And then from there is when it goes on the next phase of the journey around the world.
What are the items that you like to have in these boxes that folks can maybe just even do the drop-off and donate?
Can I show you?
Absolutely. I would love for you to.
This is a box that I packed for a little girl, 2 to 4, and the age groups are 2 to 4, 5 to 8, and 10 to 14. And then you choose whether it's a boy or girl. And of course, one of the first things I want to give her is something that will let her know that she's loved. Just some kind of gift. And then with this girl, I actually made a little blanket to put in the box. So homemade things are really appreciated. We always try to put a hand hygiene item in. So here's soap and a washcloth, and then something to wear. So socks, sunglasses, flip-flops, or sometimes we even get a dress.
Oh, okay. What about pajamas or anything like that, or is that kind of tough on
I
those
haven't
difficult
packed
to really-
pajamas because in countries what they
I know
really
some-
need is a dress to wear or shorts to wear or something like that. But if one of the things that we say is when you're packing the gut box, the first thing you do is pray, because you want to fill that box with prayer, and then ask God to guide you to what to put in it. So if God tells you pajamas are what needs to go in, they go in.
Yeah. But a dress would be more practical.
Probably,
really.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just
And then-
basic essentials.
We like to put in toys. And then even though these kids are not, this is 2 to 4, they don't go to school yet, we pack school supplies with them. So this has got pencils, sharpener, because in a lot of parts of the world, they cannot go to school if they don't have their school supplies. So this is for them. And then a color, some crayons and a coloring book or a notebook, whatever.
Or a notebook. Okay, I
Yeah.
was going to ask that as well.
Yeah, and
to
we always
practice
recommend a photo, like a photo, a handwritten note.
You
'Cause
do? Okay, that was
Because
good.
sometimes,
Good,
because you never know, that you may get a response back. And I've heard dozens of stories of getting, of families and groups, in this area and around the country that get something from the parents, like, hey, and God knows where that shoebox is going, which is the awesome part. And hearing the stories, like, power of a soccer ball is like, and how it impacts the community, because just one shoebox impacts a child, but it impacts everyone around.
A lot of
one equals
yes.
7. It's kind of that, but also, it's suggested $10 donation that covers like everything, the shipping costs, the materials, because when they are presented the shoebox gift, we give them start them on the discipleship journey called the Greatest Journey.
Okay.
So it covers all that. So think, and say this from personal experience, I've tried to ship stuff to my sister who lives in Italy. That cost me like $60, $70. And you're looking at $10
Covers all that.
covers all that, but but they see that somebody that they don't know and have no idea around the country is thinking enough about them that they're presenting this gift of love in a tangible way.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a story?
Absolutely, please do. Please do.
There was a little girl in a Syrian refugee camp, all Muslim, and she was going blind. She had been told by a doctor she was going blind. Her mother realized there was no hope for getting her any kind of treatment. And the doctor there said, the best thing I can tell you is to learn how to read Braille. So they had a missionary at this camp who was sharing the good news. But in the 3 or 4 years he had been there, he only had maybe 2 or 3 people come to know Christ. And so he asked if they could have some boxes, and they did a distribution, and this little girl got a box. And in the box, the very top item was a book on learning how to read Braille. And she said, if your God's this powerful to get this box to me, then I'm going to believe in him. And out of that one box, 54 people in her family came to know Jesus as their Lord and Savior. And to me, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Letting them know that they're loved, that they're cared, and that they have some hope.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know when I did my little mission trip, and one of the young girls that walked into the home that we had just gutted completely out so that they could come in, Samaritan Purse, the next set of team to do that and to do she was just so excited to be able to probably move back into her house at some point. And it brought tears to my eyes then, as you guys bring tears to my eyes now. And so folks who want to make a monetary donation, or once again, they want to have or buy items, do they just go to that location, or even help and volunteer? Because I know you said you have a packing party coming up in Newark, right?
Yeah,
Do you wanna
November
share that
4th.
real quick?
Friday, November 4th, from 5 until 7:30 at the Newark Y.
Okay.
YMCA. It's a big packing party, looking to pack over 1,000 shoe boxes, and it's just a long line. You go through the line. My daughter packed probably 50 last year, just going through and just picking out the age, boy or girl, the age group, and the items are specific to that age. So you just pack it and then fill it. And
once again, any church, group, organization, school, individual, anybody, even if it's a big family that wants to do something like this, how do they find out how to coordinate or do something like that?
What I would encourage them to go is to go on the website Todd mentioned.
SamaritansPurse.org/OCC, and they'll give you everything, packing tips, find your nearest drop-off location.
And also, Todd, can you show them the box? They can buy these boxes from Samaritan's Purse,
or Hobby Lobby, if there's a Hobby Lobby near you while supplies last. They do carry.
Okay, so you can buy these boxes.
You can buy this kind of box, the plastic one.
Oh, the plastic one.
Yeah.
Okay, but those ones, the cardboard boxes,
they don't
or shoe
have
boxes.
to.
Yeah,
they
it's
can just
standard
get
size.
any standard size shoe box.
Oh, okay.
Cover it with Christmas wrapping paper, and use that.
Do it as a craft with your kids and teach them about what it's like to give to somebody who may not get otherwise.
Yes.
Thank you too so very much for being with me.
You're welcome.
You.
Folks, please do, as they said, go to the website and anything. If it's just one little toy that you can go out and help with, and you can drop it off at one of the locations, it's going to make a little difference, or a big difference. Can make a big difference in a little child. Don't go anywhere. It's Down Home with Tina, and I'll be back in just a minute.
Can I visit my doctor online?
Our providers offer telehealth appointments that fit your schedule, allowing you to get the care you need when you need it. Whatever you're searching for, you can find it at Fairfield Medical Center.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Down Home with Tina is brought to you by these amazing sponsors. I'm excited because I have the Lancaster Band of Gold band director. He is my teacher of the month, Mr. Ben Factor, and I'm so thrilled to have him on the show with me because we are going to just find out about what the Band of Gold has been doing and their theme for what they've got going on for the marching band competition season is what I like to call it. So Ben, how are you?
Doing great. How are you, Tina?
I'm so glad to have you on with me. We've been able to catch up. Well, I think one year we didn't, but I don't think anybody caught up the year of COVID. So, or maybe a couple. But for years I've known you. When I was doing radio before, we got to sit down and just talk about things with the band. And I'm so excited. How many years has it been now that you've been the director of bands at Lancaster High School?
This is starting year 9.
Wow. What's it been like so far in these 9 years? Have you seen so many of the children grow? Do you feel like you've grown as a band director?
Oh, absolutely. There's been lots of changes, obviously, with everything. You know, schools, community, students, and we've been able to see the program progress and make changes, and see the students go from 5th or 6th grade all the way up through their senior year. It's been really neat to see.
Yeah. So, have any of them come back and told you, how they've been doing, or if they've continued on with their band career after high school?
Yeah, quite a few actually. So one thing that I really feel proud of is whenever I see those band members continue to play. They get done with high school and they feel like they've done their job and they can kind of check out for a little while. But even after they don't have to do it anymore, a lot of them are playing at the college level, playing in local community bands, whether it's marching bands at college, jazz bands, concert bands. So they just keep on playing, which is really great to see all over the state.
Very, very nice. And I always think that they must have had a very good experience in high school to want to continue to do it into their adult life. So wonderful. So let's talk about the marching band season and what every year you have a theme that you put together and you begin to work on. When in the year? Like, is this right after the you're done with one season and you get ready for the next year?
Yeah, I always say as soon as I can. Everybody needs a little bit of a break just to kind of decompress from the season, and then once we start feeling a little bit creative, we can start building the next year's program.
So what is this year's?
So the competition show is entitled New Directions. So we have 3 very different pieces. We start out with a piece by 20th century composer Philip Glass called 1,000 Airplanes on the Roof, which is a pretty wild piece. We go into a slower, more subdued ballad, which is Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. Very haunting melody, very beautiful ballad. And then we end with Camille Saint-Saëns' Organ Symphony, Symphony No. 3, which is a real grand finale.
What inspired you to want to go this direction with New Direction? That's your theme.
Well, we look at a lot of different music. We look at programs that have already been developed throughout the country, and this was one that actually had been done before down in Texas. And so we looked at it and looked like that was going to be a good fit, and just trying something different, some great repertoire. 3 different pieces from different time periods and different styles, so we don't want the whole show to sound the same and feel the same.
Yeah. So how has the band done so far this year in the competition?
Had a great start. We have a really fun group. They're doing a lot of great work. we're towards the end of the season at this point, but
Yeah.
we still have half our competitions left. So in some ways, we're midpoint through the season as far as competitions,
Yeah.
even though we have just one football game left.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. We did. Wow.
Yeah.
So, do you ever have to leave a game early because you have a big competition going on the next day? And if you do, why and how do you make that decision, and what for?
Yeah, sometimes that has to happen depending on what the next day is looking like. We work the kids pretty hard this time of year, but we want to make sure that they can get home and have their clothes ready for the next day and pack meals and get 8 hours of sleep and that sort of thing too. So some of our football games are pretty far away. We don't just drive to the next town. Sometimes they could be an hour away, so we have to look at that too. But rarely does that happen, but certainly it does. And sometimes there's a game that's so far away that it just doesn't work for us to get chaperones and equipment drivers and buses and that sort of thing too.
And of course, you're there for the football team, of course, and then there's the cheer team and all of that you're there, you get them excited and things and such. But sometimes it's also, again, you just have to make sure that you guys are ready for the competition, because when you go out there on Friday nights and you do your halftime shows, that is really practices each time, right? To gear up and get ready for the competition, whether it's the next day or the next week.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a live audience that you're performing for.
Yeah.
And football Friday night audience might be a little different than Saturday contest audience, but just having an audience there watching and putting a little bit of pressure on the band is great practice for any performances that we do.
When do you recommend for a student to begin their career with a musical instrument?
We start in 6th grade, which is pretty typical around this part of the country, and it's a process where we start from scratch. So there's no experience necessary at that point. Some students think that they have to have some sort of a prior interest or lessons of some sort or family background, but they start in 6th grade. We test out instruments in 5th grade in the spring, and they just have to start with us right from the beginning, and we'll get them started and progress through the program.
Do students sometimes change their mind on the instrument?
It's a pretty thorough process, so it doesn't happen very often. Every now and then they're down between two, and we're sitting down there with the student and the parents, and we have all the information about what they tried and what they like and what they did well on. Every now and then they get to the next week or the next month, and they email in and want to change, which is perfectly fine. We just want to make sure they're making a good decision, it's a good fit.
Oh, right, absolutely. That's just for those parents that are just thinking, oh, we got to go buy an instrument, and what if you change your mind? So it's great that you did share that. So you all have the Band of Gold Invitational coming up.
Saturday, October 22nd. It starts at 5 p.m. at Fulton Field.
Okay, and do you get tickets in advance or tickets at the gate?
Yeah, so one of the great changes from COVID times is we went all digital for our tickets, which is nice. So just like a lot of the sports games and football games are all digital, so we can get tickets online, lancasterbands.com/invitational, and there's also QR codes there by the stadium, so you can bring phones and make sure that you get tickets before you get up to the gate.
Okay, what would you like to share for some of the other things that go on? Because I know you're so busy, and I would love to have you as a guest on the show again, but I know time gets by us, and I'm just like, because schedules just are tough sometimes.
Sure.
So what else do you have throughout the year or that's coming up here in this late fall that maybe one of the bands or concert bands that might be happening?
Yeah, well, marching band is definitely the group that's in the public eye most. Obviously, everybody knows that,
Right.
and we do spend a lot of time and a lot of rehearsal time with marching band. But we have groups that perform all the way through the school year. We have 3 concert bands at the high school that are rehearsing every day. It's a class, and we do concerts inside for our families and communities. So that's very exciting. Our first concert's coming up on December 8th for our concert bands.
All right.
And then percussion ensemble and jazz band, Winter Guard. These are all indoor groups that start in the late fall, winter, into the spring.
Yeah, well, I always like to take the time to share with folks, why did you decide to become a musician or a director of bands or concert bands at all? Why?
Yeah, well, I think you have to have certainly love for the content, which is music, and I don't know anybody that doesn't love music. It's something that touches all of our lives, and it's so important and so vital to life in general. And to have the ability to perform with a community, perform with a group, is something that's unlike any other team. It's so intricate and so interconnected. But from a teaching standpoint, it's just great to see those kids, those students develop and grow, not only as musicians, but also as people. You can see their leadership develop, their integrity, their character, their work ethic, all of these things that just make them a better citizen. And whatever they do in life, they're going to take those lessons and learn from it.
Yeah, I know that I'm a big supporter of like other groups, and for instance 4-H and FFA, that teaches kids so much. But band, I mean, a lot of the sports teams do. They teach them discipline, hard work, and I think, of course, being in the band or in concert band, it's the same thing, because it takes a lot of practice in order to become an expert or excellent or very good. I'm sure everybody has their bad days or down days, but you got to also take care of your instrument and all that stuff. Well, Ben, I just want to thank you for everything that you do for the, of course, Band of Gold and all in the community, because of course just had the fair, so they did went through the band for the, I'm having a brain cloud of the band. Parade of bands.
Yeah.
I like the parade of bands. That's what it's called. But just thank you again. And so I have some goodies in here. A little gift from Ava Jewelers, and candles, and a coffee mug, and some teas. And I'm trying to remember. You are somebody, you go nonstop all the time.
True.
So be still and know.
Oh,
and
good.
that is my little message.
Thank you.
Because I know that you go, which
Yeah.
is a good thing. I know I'm the same way, so I can't say anything about it, but just be still and know. So you're a wonderful, wonderful asset to our community, and I know to Lancaster High School. So thank you.
Thank you, Tina. I appreciate it.
And thanks to Crowd Communications for sponsoring our Teacher of the Month. Folks, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Down Home with Tina.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
It took 20 years, and I got my third child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
It's Down Home with Tina. Down Home with Tina can be viewed on Spectrum 1021, CLN Your Hometown Connection on YouTube, also my Facebook page. Folks, it is happy fall. Boy, is it that time of year where we never know what the weather's going to be, so always carry that extra jacket or blanket in the car. It is one of my favorite times of the year. The fall foliage and the leaves are changing, and it's gorgeous and it's wonderful, and so many folks are going to be having harvest parties just to celebrate the season, and I just hope that you also will take the opportunity to maybe do some drives and go see in Hocking Hills. We always have the beautiful, again, views, and also get out to Fairfield, visit Fairfield County. They have a website, and they always have some great things. They have their Scarecrow Trail, I believe, going on. Several in downtown. I know Ava Jewelers has one. It is, so what is it? I can't remember. Vincent Von Crow, I think, is what they have is their Scarecrow. But anyways, a lot of fun ones and very creative, talented folks we have in the community. Get out, folks. Enjoy the fall. Thanks so much for watching this week's Down Home with Tina. God bless and good day.